Ridge returns to Los Angeles after that fateful trip to Naples, and the plane lands, his heart pounding, the memory of that moment in Italy flashing in his mind like a lightning strike. He steps off the jet bridge into the familiar glare of LAX, and instantly the tension presses in. The red carpet of paparazzi in his imagination, the scent of jasmine from Taylor's roses still clinging to his jacket, the warmth of Brooke's embrace months ago whispering through his memory like a siren. He breathes, he steels himself. He knows that what happened in Naples has the power to shatter everything he's built. He wonders, will the world collapse before he even opens his mouth to speak? The limousine ride from the airport is silent, each stoplight a painful pause, each city block a countdown. When he pulls up at Forrester Creations, the place he's poured his soul into for decades, the walls suddenly feel brittle. Walking in, past the fashion sketches pinned like secrets and mannequins frozen in mid-runway drama, he senses the undercurrent of gossip already circulating. Brooke's piercing eyes from across the room, Taylor quietly gliding by like a ghost, Bill whispering something into Brooke's ear, Katie giving him a look like she's just seen his lifeline snap. Ridge braces himself, and he knows he must speak, or he'll be crushed by the avalanche of rumors. He calls Thomas and Steffi into his office, shutting the door before he speaks. The sunlight that filters through the blinds carves bars of gold across the room, and Ridge can barely stand the weight of it. You two need to hear this from me, not Instagram, not Twitter, not the tabloids. His voice cracks. He tells them about Naples. He tells them how he went to Italy to finalize a supplier contract, but instead found himself standing beneath the same moonlit sky as Taylor, that moment where their hands brushed, laughter bubbling, the velvet night around them, and then, I kissed her, he says. The words like a pistol shot, and it meant something. He watches their faces crumple, Steffi's jaw tightens, Thomas's hand trembles. They tell him he's insane, that he's jeopardizing his life, his family, his wedding to Taylor. But he can't lie. If he lies, he'll drown in the lies. So he lays it bare. The longing, the confusion, the electricity that shot through him the moment their lips met in that quiet courtyard. He ends with, I'm torn. I love you both for different reasons, but I hurt them both. And before the world hears it from the internet, I have to say it from my own voice. Meanwhile, the rumor mill catches fire. Brooke, discovering the Italian kiss buzz online before Ridge has the benefit of preparation, is torn between outrage and something darker, jealousy, fear, the old ache of longing. She scrolls through the gossip sites, sees the photos blown up, Ridge and Taylor, a shadowed image of two silhouettes leaning together, lips grazing as if caught mid-heartbeat. Brooke's pulse flares, and she knows that Ridge is in trouble. Not because the public might think he's unfaithful, but because he might believe it's true. She grapples with her impulses. Should she confront him? Should she bury it? Should she fan the flames to watch Taylor burn? But beneath all that, there's love, persistent, stubborn, aching love, and she finds herself slapped by how much it still matters. She realizes the fight for Ridge isn't to humiliate Taylor, it's to save him from himself. Taylor hears the rumors through Ridge's confession in his office, via a frantic voicemail from Ridge apologizing, desperate for honesty, wanting to talk before the world does. When she arrives at Forrester Creations, her composure fractures. She sees Ridge, his shoulders slumped, his suit hanging on him like a suit of armor he's discarded. She hears Brooke's voice in the hall, measured and calm, but everywhere she turns she feels the jealousy, the split in Ridge's heart. She enters his office and the confession starts all over from her side, all the details she needs, the moment of the kiss, what he felt, whether it was a mistake or something more. Taylor listens, her eyes wide, her hands clenched, and though the words hurt, there's relief in knowing the truth. She wants to lash out, to cry, to scream, but instead she nods and asks quietly, "Why didn't you tell me earlier?" Ridge replies, "I wanted to protect you." I wanted to protect us. But now I realize I can't protect anything if I don't face it. She looks at him, that mix of fury and heartbreak and lingering love swirling in her gaze. They stand, two wounded warriors, and nothing has been solved. But at least the truth is out. The wedding rehearsal is scheduled in the big hall at the mansion. The room is set, white rose petals scattered down the aisle, gilded chairs, soft music playing from a string quartet tuning. Everyone, Forrester family, Spectra, Spencer, assembled. The air is thick with anticipation and dread. Brooke is there, flawless, controlled, but her eyes flick to Ridge, then to Taylor, then to Ridge again, as if she's trying to map the divide. Taylor looks statuesque, bridal gown clinging like armor, but her hands shake, her breath coming in small, jagged bursts. Ridge walks in, shoulders squared, eyes haunted. The minister steps forward. Everyone expects them to start, but Ridge lifts a hand. We can't do this. Silence. The petals stop fluttering in the breeze of that moment. Brooke's breath hitches. Taylor's face goes pale. Ridge steps forward, voice strong. I have to be honest, here, now. Before all of you. Taylor, I love you. But there was something in Naples, something I didn't plan. There was a kiss that shouldn't have happened. And I can't walk down that aisle if I'm not sure we're building on truth. Gasps ripple. Brooke's eyes flash. Taylor's lips quiver. Someone murmurs. Wedding off, disharmony, betrayal. Ridge continues. I want to try to make it right, but only if sleep doesn't feel like betrayal, only if waking doesn't feel like regret. He turns to Taylor. Do you still want to marry me? Taylor's voice is a whisper. I don't know. But I want the truth more than I want anything else. The minister tries to speak, but Ridge waves him off. The string quartet falters. Guests shift in chairs. The next hours feel suspended in a vacuum. People scatter, retreat to corners. Brooke approaches Taylor, softly, but Taylor recoils, eyes wet. Ridge retreats to his office, shutting the door like a blade. Inside, he's alone with memories of Brooke laughing, of Taylor's calm determination to rebuild. He realizes he chose both not because he's indecisive, but because he's human, fallibly drawn to different women for different reasons, and that truth terrifies everyone. Brooke comes to the office and they talk. Not the theatrical confrontation he feared, but quiet, two people stripped down by raw honesty. Brooke, voice low and fierce, I love you, Ridge. But I won't stand in the way of what you need, and you at least are honest. Ridge takes her hand. I don't know if you'll ever forgive me, or if I can forgive myself. But you have a right to know everything. Brooke nods, and the look they exchange is years of history. Love isn't solved, but it's acknowledged again. Taylor, meanwhile, finds Ridge in the quiet sanctuary of the rooftop garden. The city lights gleam below, like promises he's not sure he can keep. They stand in silence for a long minute, and then Ridge says, I want to rebuild, if you'll let me. I want us to rebuild without lies. Taylor's voice is steady now, but you have to tell me why the kiss happened. I need to understand. Ridge doesn't speak at first. How to explain the ache that's been with him, the loneliness, the nostalgia for what they had. But he tries. I felt alive in that moment, Taylor. I saw you, the way you looked at me in Naples, and it stirred something inside me I didn't know was still there. Taylor listens, her eyes searching his face. She steps closer. We can't erase what happened. But maybe we can build something new, stronger. He nods, hope and fear locked in his chest. Days pass. The rumor wheels spin tighter. Late-night headlines, social media feeds lit up with speculation. But Ridge and Taylor don't hide. They release a statement. No PR spin, just truth. We are working through something, and we owe that to each other and to the fans. But we ask for privacy as we face this head-on. Sales of the show spike. Susan, the tabloid editor, calls it the kiss that stopped the press. Ridge hears about it, not from gossip sites, but from fans on the street, from random texts. Ridge, we're rooting for you. He's stunned by the empathy, not condemnation. Finally, they come together in the main hall again, but this time not for a wedding rehearsal. The place is quiet, still set for a wedding that now may never come. Ridge and Taylor stand together, hand in hand. "Maybe someday," he says. She nods. "Maybe, but only if we start with honesty." He draws in a shaky breath. "I love you. I love you too." It's not a wedding, not yet. But it's more real than anything that had come before. Meanwhile, Brooke makes her peace. She throws herself into work, launches a new capsule line in honor of truth in fashion, and finds a kind of peace in ambition and self-worth. She's not Ridge's bride, but she's no longer broken. Ridge and Taylor are wounded, yes, but intact. The Italian kiss may have derailed a wedding, but it may also have saved 3 people from pretending. The drama isn't over. The story is far from finished. But for now, Ridge stands between 2 loves torn. But at least honest. And in that honesty, there is power. The walls of Forrester Creations stand, the cameras flash, the world watches, and through it all, the truth pulses at the center, the heart of the bold and the beautiful beating fast, unpredictable and real. Taylor was never the kind of woman to crumble easily. Her strength had been forged through years of heartbreak, betrayal, motherhood, and rebuilding herself piece by piece after each blow. But when Ridge stood before her in that sunlit room and confessed everything, every charged glance, every hesitation, and worst of all, the kiss in Naples, it was as if the foundation beneath her feet cracked. The moment was raw, brutal, final. She had given Ridge her trust again, dared to believe that their love could be rebuilt, only to realize he had already betrayed her emotionally before they even reached the altar. The betrayal was more than just the kiss. It was the hesitation, the fact that he'd carried that secret in his heart while planning a future with her. Her vision blurred with fury and grief. Her pride was a wound screaming beneath her skin. Taylor tried to hold herself together. At first, she did. She told herself she wouldn't react, wouldn't give Brooke the satisfaction. She reminded herself she was a mother, a psychiatrist, a woman of dignity. But something inside her snapped when she saw Brooke standing with Ridge again. Too close, too comfortable, too familiar. Brooke's face, always too composed, too smug, lit with a spark of something Taylor couldn't take. Maybe it was triumph, or maybe it was just that same old Brooke Logan confidence that always followed her like perfume. Taylor had kept her distance long enough. Now she needed answers. Not from Ridge. From Brooke. She found Brooke in the Forrester executive office, seated casually on the couch like she owned the place, thumbing through fashion sketches as if nothing had happened. Taylor's footsteps were silent, but her presence made the air electric. Brooke looked up, the faintest smile curling at the corner of her lips. "Taylor," she said. "I heard you knew." Taylor didn't wait. "You kissed him. You knew exactly what you were doing. And you said nothing." Brooke stood slowly, carefully, but there was nothing cautious about her words. "You don't get to rewrite history. He kissed me. I didn't pull him in. But I didn't stop it either. That's the truth." The room seemed to shrink. Taylor's fists clenched. "You've always taken what you want, no matter who it hurts. You couldn't let me have him, not even when we were finally happy." Brooke didn't back down. "Happy? Taylor, if he kissed me, he wasn't happy. Don't blame me for what Ridge feels." Something broke. Taylor moved before she could think, driven by rage that had been simmering for years. Her hand flew, striking Brooke hard enough to send her staggering backward into the edge of the glass table. The crack of impact was sharp and sickening. Brooke cried out, fell, and hit the floor, clutching her head. Blood bloomed beneath her palm. The silence after was louder than the scream. Taylor stood frozen, breath heaving, horror creeping up her spine. She hadn't meant to go that far. She wanted confrontation, not blood. But the sight of Brooke on the ground, injured and stunned, was too much. Seconds later, Ridge burst into the room. He had heard the commotion. What he found was chaos, Taylor trembling, Brooke bleeding, the air heavy with the aftershock of violence. His face went pale. "What happened?" he demanded. Brooke tried to sit up, Ridge rushing to her, helping her gently. She winced, the blood trickling between her fingers. Taylor couldn't speak. She stared at Ridge, expecting what? Compassion? Understanding? But his focus was entirely on Brooke. "We need to get you to a doctor," he said. "You might have a concussion." "I'm fine," Brooke muttered, but Ridge ignored her protest, helping her stand, guiding her carefully as though she were made of glass. Taylor watched it all unfold like a nightmare. Ridge was holding another woman in his arms. He wasn't asking what happened. He wasn't looking at Taylor. He wasn't furious at Brooke. He was only focused on her well-being. That was the moment Taylor knew she hadn't just made a mistake, she had lost him. The fallout was swift. Security footage leaked, just grainy enough to obscure faces, but the voices were unmistakable. Taylor's slap. Brooke's fall. The rumor mills exploded. Tabloids screamed headlines. Taylor's breakdown. Violence in the Forrester office. Catfight turns bloody. Public sympathy tilted hard in Brooke's favor. Fans of the fashion house were polarized. Some called Taylor unhinged. Others claimed Brooke provoked her. But none of it changed the truth. Ridge pulled away from Taylor, not because he stopped caring, but because she crossed a line that couldn't be uncrossed. He brought Brooke to her home, stayed by her side as doctors checked her, as her family visited, as she rested. Ridge was there the whole time, guilt and concern chaining him to her doorstep. He told himself he was just doing the right thing. He owed her that much. But the truth was more complicated. Seeing Brooke vulnerable triggered something protective in him, something primal. It wasn't just guilt. It was love. It was familiarity. It was all the years, the history, the way she looked at him like he was still her destiny. And slowly, painfully, Ridge realized that his heart had made a decision even before his mind had caught up. Taylor knew it too. Ridge visited her less and less. The conversations became shorter, more formal. He no longer said, "We'll work through this." He no longer promised anything. When he finally told her he couldn't keep trying, Taylor didn't cry. She didn't beg. She just nodded. "Take care of her," she said. "But don't pretend this wasn't your choice long before I raised my hand." Ridge tried to explain. "It's not about the slap." But Taylor cut him off. "It is. It's about everything. It's about the fact that you hesitated before marrying me. It's about the kiss in Naples. It's about how every time things got hard, you ran to her. I gave you everything, Ridge. And you chose her." Again. He couldn't argue. And he didn't. The aftermath stretched on like a storm that wouldn't end. Brooke recovered, her scar healing, her media image carefully controlled. She gave no interviews. She didn't lash out. She played the victim with grace, as only Brooke could. But Ridge saw through it. He saw the satisfaction she tried to hide. He saw that even in pain, Brooke had won. But he also saw something else. He saw the part of himself that had always loved her. The part that couldn't be erased by time or betrayal. Taylor withdrew from the spotlight. She took a leave of absence from Forrester. Steffi tried to convince her to stay, to fight, but Taylor was done fighting for a man who never stood still long enough to love her properly. She needed time, distance, space to rebuild herself. Again. Brooke and Ridge were seen more and more together. Not as a couple, not yet, but the writing was on the wall. Ridge was there for her morning coffee. He picked her up from doctor's appointments. He stayed late, helping her sort through old memories, talking about what went wrong between them over the years. And slowly the ice thawed. Ridge found himself smiling again, laughing even. Brooke made it easy. She always had. But not everything was easy. The guilt lingered. Ridge visited Taylor one last time before making anything official with Brooke. He owed her that much. He told her the truth. He still loved her, but not enough. He still cared, but not like before. And she thanked him. Not bitterly. not angrily, but with the tired grace of a woman who had nothing left to lose. "I hope she makes you happy this time," Taylor said. "Because if she doesn't, I won't be here waiting." Ridge nodded. And that was that. The story didn't end with a wedding. Not yet. But Brooke and Ridge were together again, slowly rebuilding what had once been so powerful. Taylor, for the first time in years, was alone, but not broken. She was older now, wiser, harder maybe, but still standing. The kiss in Naples started a chain reaction. But it was Taylor's heartbreak, her impulsive violence, and Ridge's quiet betrayal that truly shattered the illusion. The bold and the beautiful world had shifted again. And as always, nothing would ever be the same.